will you still be playing at the highest level in your 40s?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, keep that in mind. Now let's flip it.
La decisión de que voy a ir a Miami, de alguna manera quería tomar mi propia decisión pensando en mí, en mi familia.
Right, so this is where we start. So for the very first time since 2003, we are having a Champions League campaign with neither of the modern day GOATs taking part. And while for most footballers, 36 to 38 seems like a perfectly reasonable age to leave the elite level and chase a final payday outside Europe, for these guys, you can't help but think they had more to give. After all, Messi was the world champion only 7 months before he left, and Ronaldo was Manchester United's top scorer only 7 months before he left. But that's got me thinking, now that they are no longer playing in the top level, should we really think of it as a career wrap for the pair? Well, the short answer is no. With these guys, you never know what they will do and where they will end up. The long answer though is a lot more controversial. You see, I think Ronaldo has a much better chance to expand his legacy from Al-Nassr than Messi does from Inter Miami. And here's why. Okay, so unlike my previous couple of videos, the why section here is actually pretty simple. You see, to explore why, from a legacy standpoint, Ronaldo's move to Al-Nassr is better than that of Messi's to Inter Miami, we need to start by exploring why each GOAT made their respective moves in the first place. Starting with CR7. So if you were watching United around the summer of 2022, you'd have noticed that Ronaldo's head just didn't seem like it was in the right place. And honestly, given the circumstances, you couldn't blame him, because as hard as he was trying to hide it, it was obvious that he was being affected by the mental trauma of watching Fred try to pass a ball. And in turn, he slowly began losing his mind. And it all culminated that November when Ronnie skipped training to spend 2 hours in confined space with the pigeon lady from Home Alone. This led Man United, the PR sensitive social media brand who happened to play a bit of football on the weekends, and by the looks of it, pretty soon only on the weekends, to terminate his contract, allowing him to go and revisit some of the offers he received the previous summer. Now ideally, Ronaldo obviously would have wanted a big European club to swipe him up, but due to his European offers coming from clubs a little below his level because of factors such as age, wage and tendency to rage on the big stage, he instead opted to move to Saudi. And this is the thing. CR7 just didn't move to Saudi because he had nowhere else to go. I mean, if you don't know that's bullshit by now, well now you know. That's bullshit. My source? Trust me, I know my stuff. I'm wearing an expensive top. I'm a big man. You see, unlike most footballers who are in, around or past their mid-30s, Ronaldo didn't just move for a final payday, nor was it because he believed he couldn't hang anymore. And it certainly wasn't because of familial reasons. Hell, even his own nephew rinsed the fuck out of him for that move. But rather, he looked at the wider perspective. The wider perspective with respect to his legacy. Because when Al-Nassr began discussing Ronaldo's transfer, they obviously explained the entire project to him. And by entire project, I don't mean just the Al-Nassr project, I don't even mean just the Saudi Pro League project, but I mean the project of growing football in the entire country, for all ages, all levels, both sexes. Not really sure that Alphabet Mandem are still welcome there. Sorry. And as some of you may know, Ronaldo has been hands-on in those endeavours off the field too, already doing a lot to better the women's game in Saudi, as well as attracting multiple big name players, some even below 30, to join his league, if not team. And well, that's what he wanted. I mean, whether you like him or not, it is obvious that he is someone who strongly cares about how he will be remembered in the game. And after how horribly the World Cup and his Manchester United career ended for him, he wasn't going to let that be the lasting memory. So instead of moving to a relatively low-profile European club for a final stint where he can stat bad in the UCL, he became the catalyst to an enormous project where, given it all pans out, he can ultimately be credited for making Saudi Arabia one of the biggest footballing nations in the world. And yes, that may take time to do. It may even fully manifest after he's retired. But there can only be one first. And he knew this, and after conquering multiple countries in Europe, becoming the greatest ever player in the biggest European competition, changing the game in a different part of the world in his late 30s, will be a very well-rounded full stop to his remarkable career. And best believe, he'd considered all that when making the move. So, despite still being relatively successful from a collective standpoint, I think we can all agree and say that Messi's time at PSG was rather underwhelming, and from around halfway through his second year, it was clear he needed to leave. Jesus, talk about f***ing parallels. Now, it's no secret that Messi's first choice was a return to Barcelona, but after that deal fell through for one reason or another, he was left with the choice of either joining the Saudi movement with Al Hilal or to play for David Beckham's Inter Miami. And when giving his reasons behind bowing to Ball for Better and boldly boost brand Beckham's beaming business by becoming one of the boys in black and blissfully boiling South Beach, he began by basically admitting that it was almost solely due to familial reasons. And that's the difference. Messi didn't care about expanding his legacy, adding to his image, or rounding off his career, because in his mind, rightfully so, he'd already done that with the World Cup, and he's now playing simply for the love of the game. Unless there's some behind the scenes shit I don't know about and he's broke. You never know with these guys. But yeah, that is why he chose Inter Miami. That and the fact that he's apparently given a choice to own a franchise. Can you imagine quiet little Messi being an owner? He'll probably line up to get tickets to his own team's games. Bar that though, yes, that is why Messi also chose the MLS. Cause let's face it, Major League Soccer isn't exactly experiencing a boom in finances or an influx of talent right now. Well, other than Messi and his baggage, they had that boom years ago, with Bex himself in fact. I can't get enough of that docuseries, by the way. This is like the 4th time I'm gonna watch it. So yeah, ultimately, Messi's move to Inter Miami by the end will mean a lot less than Ronaldo's to Al-Nassr, and just as it should, because as I said, unlike Messi, CR7 is still searching for that perfect ending. And in the crazy world of football, him moving to the Middle East actually gives him a better chance to find said ending than it would have had he stayed in Manchester. And that's not only because of the Saudi project, but also let's not forget, Ronaldo is still in the pursuit of that little known milestone of 1,000 goals. And just imagine that. Let's go through it again. After conquering Europe, bringing success to a relatively small footballing nation, growing football in an extremely small footballing nation, he tops it off by becoming the first ever footballer to hit 4 figures. And while all this may seem like a barrage of information I just laid on you at once, Ronaldo, as surprising as this may sound, had it all thought out from the get-go. Because let's not forget, he was offered the move in the summer. He joined in January. And as I said, he deeply cares about his legacy. He deeply cares about what people think of him. And he knows he has the chance to add to his legacy by being a pioneer over there. And you bet he'll do all he can to make that happen. And then who knows, he may have an Indian summer in Europe. Irony! And that is that. Agree or disagree, beats indifference. Once again, don't forget to like, comment and share. And of course, subscribe. Till next time, you keep rolling.